front of the attack. A solid mass has emerged there. This structure serves as a wall blocking the attack. The humans simply watch as if expecting it wouldn't be easy. A pair of blue glowing eyes becomes visible, and a confident smile. A powerful diamond mushroom had risen. The attack took only 1 point of life from it. The creature is at level 92 with almost 10,000 defense. The Mushroom King is utterly enraged. Cage prepares for battle. Garrett is a mage and also one of the 4 generals. Bo was also ready to defend the kingdom. The most powerful warriors among the mushrooms had finally entered the battlefield. It was an unexpected surprise for them. The humans continue advancing through the terrain. It's the first time the ninja has seen a diamond mushroom, and the shooter had seen one before, but not as large as this. Its eyes must be worth a fortune. The tamer thinks it's a useless monster and wants the guild's vice leader to burn it to ashes. But the blonde says they're not rookies who need the vice leader's help all the time. The mushroom looks at them with a mischievous smile on its face. With the limited mobility it has, it tilts its head back, and then down, lowering its glasses slightly. This way, it can open its eyes. It opens them, revealing an intense glow. From its eyes comes a large laser-like blast. That attack heads toward the humans. As it gets closer, they become less able to see. The warrior plants his sword into the ground. He is not impressed by it at all. Digging his sword deeper into the terrain, it shines brighter and brighter. This creates a defense field around them. Meanwhile, the High Priestess prepares to act. A scale and a feather appear in the air. She uses a powerful technique in favor of the goddess. The beams emitted by the diamond mushroom are closing in. They strike the blonde's barrier with full force. But his and the priestess's technique holds strong. The attack beams are deflected in other directions. A stone is struck by the beam. Immediately, it and its surroundings transform into diamonds. Soon, the entire ground around them turns to diamond. Wherever those beams touch, the material becomes diamond. The shooter's greed grows, knowing if they could collect all that, they'd be rich. Focused, the mushroom hasn't stopped its attack, and the priestess needs to maintain her focus on her technique. The warrior is also being exhausted. His barrier begins to crack, and his hands and swords start turning to diamond. The barrage of light continues to progress. Gradually, it dissipates, ceasing to exist. The diamond mushroom had ceased its attack. It looks ahead for a moment, then it throws its head back quickly. Now its eyes sport the coolest sunglasses in the region. To recharge its energy, it looks up, absorbing the sunlight. As it does this, the humans are still alive in the distance, but the warrior's hands and part of his sword were damaged. He's panting, thinking that if it weren't for the priestess's help, they all would have died. The tamer approaches him, concerned about his hands. He acknowledges her concern, having tried using potions, but none of them worked. Then the priestess stands beside him. Kneeling, she places her hands over the warrior's hands. Wings emerge from her back. They grow larger, scattering feathers around. She focuses intently on what she is doing. Her lips approach the crystallized part. She then kisses the crystal softly. This fills the warrior with hope. Slowly, both his hands and the sword return to their normal state. Watching this, the ninja is impressed by the capabilities of an S-level priestess. Finally healed, the warrior stands up. He feels even stronger than before, and the ninja remarks that in a team meant for defeating bosses, damage isn't the most important factor. The shooter warns them to get ready because the fight isn't over yet. As they talk, a shot approaches them. The bullet is dangerously close now. Reacting quickly, the warrior destroys it, stating that their enemies are already there. Everyone forms up, but they can't see any creatures. However, the shooter's keen hearing picks up something. He immediately fires in the direction of the sound. His bullets precisely collide with the incoming bullets. They explode in the air like bombs. In response, the ninja performs a series of hand signs, popularized by a boy in an orange jacket who liked a guy in a blue sweater. He finally completes the ritual. With his eyes glowing, he begins the magic detection process. He spots 3 distinct figures ahead. He alerts the others that the enemies are using stealth techniques and are approaching from the front. The mushroom samurai then unleashes a few slashes. The force and destructiveness of the attack cause the humans to scatter. The blonde says that each of them should focus on one enemy, and they all follow the instruction. The samurai tells them to fall back and block the path. They cannot allow them to get close to their king. With that, they retreat and initiate their counterattack. Facing the imminent attack, the ninja gets ready. He crouches to track the enemies. Prepared, he looks around intently. The samurai tells him to stop doing that because he's right there. The ninja immediately turns to face the creature. At the speed the samurai moves his sword, the ninja launches his dagger. As they exchange blows, the samurai wants to know why humans take pleasure in invading territories that aren't theirs. They aren't the first. They've been attacked by 5 different groups. The ninja has to step back a bit to protect himself. The strength of the samurai's attack also pushes him away. He grips his blade, standing firm. Looking at the ninja, he says that despite the invasions, the survival rate of the aggressors is 0%. At a distance, the ninja notices small cuts on his body. Taking a defensive stance, he assesses the extent of the damage. However, a green glow appears on his wounds. The priestess is healing the ninja. He looks at her and thanks her for the help. He says they are stronger than he expected, but with his team working together, their defeat is only a matter of time. What he doesn't notice is that the samurai has moved and is about to slice the priestess into pieces. To prevent this, the ninja throws several daggers in his direction. The samurai must choose whether to attack and die or defend himself. Wisely, he opts to defend against the daggers. Determination fills his eyes in battle. Another dagger is coming his way. Appearing near him, the ninja says not to run away as he is his opponent. Once again, they begin to exchange several blows. While he battles the samurai, the shooter lines up his shot. His goal is to keep his target fully distracted. He's about to pull the trigger, but Bo catches his attention. From behind him, she asks what he's doing, and in a panic, he says he will surrender. But her pistol fires mercilessly. A large hole is marked in the stone, but the body isn't normal. It was just a decoy that is now vanishing. Bo realizes what's happening. Behind her, some projectiles are already approaching. She jumps quickly to react, firing her pistols several times. She makes her bullets hit the ones coming her way. Her reaction time is excellent, and a shooter thought he could take her down from there. But Bo was also highly skilled. With one of her weapons, Bo shoots the ground. This gives her a boost forward, allowing her to continue firing. The gunslinger's attack is almost upon the human, but he narrowly dodges, avoiding the worst. This maneuver allows him to ready his rifle for a shot. With a clear aim, he fires. Unlike before, this shot hits the target directly. However, all he manages to do is destroy Bo's cigar. He can't tell if he overestimated himself or if she is slowed down. In the air, she uses her shots to maneuver. Once on the ground, she points her guns at the human, but there are already projectiles heading her way. Using the physics of flat Earth, she shoots the ground to launch herself into the air. The momentum is enough to make her spin uncontrollably. This way, she fires several shots while spinning. Even so, the human can track the trajectory of all her bullets. But unexpectedly, one of the bullets goes straight past the other. That instantly makes his heart race. The human has to react quickly to avoid getting his brains splattered. The swift reaction leaves him momentarily thoughtful. She had changed the type of bullets she was using to catch him off guard. Bo says that his firepower doesn't even compare to hers. Still in the air, she unleashes a massive barrage of shots. The piercing bullets head straight for the human. At that moment, he's lost in thought about firepower. Using magic, the tip of his rifle begins to change. His weapon is transforming. Now he has a rotary cannon similar to a machine gun, and he's eager to make her experience that firepower. Aiming at her, the bullets fly like a swarm of wasps. The sword warrior says he'll need to bother the priestess once again. He begins to strengthen himself before her, but the stone on her staff starts glowing vigorously. Various blessings are being bestowed upon him. As the priestess works, a mushroom mage is approaching her. Hidden, it's preparing its deadly magic. But the unexpected happens. A hairy hand reaches out toward it. Sensing the danger, the mage realizes he must act. He dodges the attack by a hair's breadth without revealing his position. The beast tamer sniffs the air. She says she caught his scent, and there's no way to hide. Knowing someone is there, she points to where he is. Surprised by her ability, the mage reveals himself. He says her trump card is the monster she keeps in her bag. Stepping down a bit more, he strikes the ground with his staff. A red tip begins to emerge from the soil. It grows quickly, revealing a massive body. That is the war mushroom, and he wants to see if the girl's beast can stop him. A protrusion at its tip begins to contract. It expels something akin to venom. Those organic projectiles are almost hitting their target. Patting the bag, the girl tells the beast it's time to eat. A snarling mouth emerges instantly. The wolf-like creature devours the goo. Afterward, it retreats back into the safety of the bag. The mage says she shouldn't feed her pet just anything, as what it ate was venom. This leaves her a bit puzzled. Inside the bag, the beast writhes. From its opening, a burp-like sound emerges. The mage wants to know what she'll do now without her creature's assistance. While he speaks, the wolf's hand lunges forward to strike. He has no idea how he's still alive. He summons a protective shield to avoid contact. Even so, the impact is strong. The beast continues to punch and the shield is already cracking. Beneath it, the mage trembles from the vibrations of the blows. Avoiding the worst, he detaches himself from the shield he had summoned. Even that powerful technique couldn't withstand the beast's brute strength. Before his eyes, the shield is almost entirely destroyed. Now the wolf's hand has pierced through it. Finally, it manages to strike the mage for the first time. The girl brags that her beast is accustomed to poisons made by the guild leader, and that this was nothing. Meanwhile, the warrior's power surges. His armor can no longer hold up. He struggles to control all that strength, but his muscles, blessed with the power of juice, grow so much from the magical boost that the armor has to give up. His sword shines with a golden aura. In front of him is the mage who was punched by the beast, and behind the mage, the diamond mushroom. Confident, he wants to seize the opportunity to cut down both with this single strike. Positioning his sword, he began his attack. He spun around his own axis several times. Then he threw his sword forward like a spear. The massive blade soared through the air, unstoppable. Its speed was so great that the ground beneath it split apart. It was only moments before the mage and the diamond mushroom would find out that God exists. Death was imminent for them. Unexpectedly, something happened before the impact. The sword was struck and ended up embedding itself in the ground. The mage felt useless, as the one who was supposed to protect him had left his throne to defend him. The Mushroom King had finally entered the battlefield. His expression was one of complete rage. Unimpressed, the warrior smiled at this. Stretching out his hand, he commanded the sword to return. The blade began to vibrate subtly, until it ripped from the ground with considerable force. In no time, it was back in his hand. To him, the king must be very strong indeed, as he had deflected the sword effortlessly. Provoking him, he said that the king was nothing more than a big fat mushroom. In another part of the battlefield, blades clashed fiercely. The battle between the samurai and the ninja progressed. After some time, the ninja realized something. They had already fought 93 rounds, and he had lost every one of them. Every time he was injured, a priestess healed him. It was great that she could do this, so he thought he could fight until the samurai tired. The mushroom advanced toward him with ferocity. The ninja thought he was going to attack the priestess and repeated that he was his opponent. Quickly, the samurai delivered an attack with his dual blades. The samurai acknowledged that he knew this and that his target was always the ninja. The strike was so fast that he couldn't even react, but the blow didn't fully penetrate his armor. He had been saved by the priestess, who made his skin as hard as stone. With the assistance of his companions, he didn't want to lose, but the wound on his chest grew larger, until it became too big, causing blood to gush from it. Even the priestess was hurt due to the strain. She needed to retreat a bit further. Her white robes were now stained with blood. On the ground lay the body of the ninja, subdued. Putting his hat back on, the samurai reminded him that he had already mentioned the survival rate of the invaders, which was an incredible 0%. In the other battle, the shooter's machine gun kept roaring. Grinning like a maniac, he asked if that was enough firepower for her. The bullet casings piled up on the ground. The situation made Bo rethink her approach. She holstered her pistol. With one of her hands, she tore a small piece of her cape. She squeezed the piece tightly, until it formed a small ball. Loading her weapon with it, she aimed and fired a single shot. That small projectile expanded into a net. Its strength was great enough to catch all the bullets. The shooter scoffed, saying it was useless, and that she'd make his life easier if she decided to die already. There was a shadow behind the ball that had caught the bullets. Thinking it was his opponent, he bid farewell and fired again in that direction. But what remained after the shots was not a body. He realized he had fallen for a distraction. His sharp hearing picked up something. The grass had shifted due to an air disturbance. He knew he had to act quickly. He switched weapons once again, returning to the rifle he carried. With it on his shoulder, he fired a few more shots, skillfully blocking the bullets that were heading his way. Bo commented that she had hoped he'd be dead, and that he reacted very quickly for a human. He replied that he wouldn't be hit by the trash she was firing, but was intrigued by how she managed to get into his blind spot so quickly. Lighting a match, he said that powerful bullets and rate of fire aren't everything for shooters. That's a basic principle. The bullets had slowed because she was using fungal spores. Preparing to fire, he stated that they were in the middle of a battle and that she talked too much. With a serious expression, she told him he should pay more attention to things. He finally realized something was off. In the grass around him, some objects were being set up. They were mushrooms with a peculiar shape. He couldn't even tell what those foolish things were, until one of them pressed the button on top of its head. All of them did the same, emitting an intense light. By the time he noticed, it was too late. The brightness blinded him momentarily. He needed to move away from there to regain his vision. Backing up, he hoped to recover his sight soon. Bo says that some mushrooms emit a beam of intense light as soon as they are born. The only sense he has left to defend himself is his hearing. Even though he can't see her, he can still hear, and he hopes she keeps talking. But he doesn't notice more mushrooms sprouting around him. This time, it's one that looks like it's filled with speakers. His hearing picks up their growth, but he can't tell what kind they are. A deafening sound blasts from them. The force of this sonic wave is enough to damage his eardrums. With his senses impaired, he has no idea where she is. Some mushrooms emit a deafening sound upon sprouting. Desperate, he covers his ears with his hands for protection. Trying to escape, he steps backward, moving away from the noise. He's completely disoriented by it. As he steps back, he accidentally steps on a specific mushroom. It begins to grow immediately. Its vigorous growth propels the human into the air. Part of her plan, he is bounced from one mushroom to another. Some mushrooms grow to extraordinary heights in an instant. After all this, he falls to the ground, still disoriented. But now, another variety of mushrooms surrounds him. He begins to open his eyes slowly. With his vision blurred, he realizes it's not just grass around him. Now that he can see a bit again, he tries to stay calm, knowing he only needs one good shot. Furious, he punches the ground with one of his hands. This causes the mushrooms around him to react. All he feels is rage at being overpowered by mere mushrooms. The ones in front of him begin making noises. They start to swell dangerously. From the tops of their heads, they release a dark orange cloud. The cloud is released by the others as well. They are explosive clouds, potentially deadly. The shockwave repels him, sending him crashing for several of them. These mushrooms sense the intentions of living beings. If they are friendly, they release healing spores, but if hostile, they explode. As he harbors hostile intentions, he triggers multiple explosions. He rolls through the grass until he is near Bo. Even so, she can't understand how pathetic humans think they can invade their kingdom. Lying on the ground, he sees her approach as an opportunity. He quickly gets up with his rifle, claiming that their hope comes from the monsters being dumb. But he can't pull the trigger. His finger is stuck. Watching the scene, Bo takes a drag from her cigarette. He's enraged, feeling like